What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is the Audio Pod. I am your host, Mike Testa. We're back. We are back. I'm pumped. Yeah, man, it's been a while since I've been in front of this mic, so I'm excited to get back with you guys. Yeah, welcome back to the reboot of the Audio Pod podcast. It has been about 12 years since we actually did a podcast in this sort of format. So if this is your first time, welcome back. If not, welcome. Let me give you a little recap of who I am. My name is Mike Testa. I am a associate professor over at Salem State University. I'm an audio educator and composer, performer, mix engineer, recording engineer, producer, you name it. I'm probably have some sort of title in music and music production. I have a doctorate of education from the University of Massachusetts Lowell. I also have a master's in sound recording technology from University of Massachusetts Lowell. Actually, all my degrees are from UMass Lowell. So, shout out to the Riverhawks. Go Blue. However, I am also a podcaster. I have been doing this since 2006. Believe it or not, this is it's been a journey. Let's just put it that way. Originally, the podcast, the Audio Pod, I started it when I was in grad school the first time for my master's of sound recording technology. In 2006, I was a first-year graduate student, and Focal Press at the time was looking to get into podcasting. And when I graduated my undergraduate in 2004, I ended up working for New England Sports Network and became their chief audio mixer around 2005, 2006. So I had some broadcast experience. And when Focal Press was looking at getting into podcasting, a couple of my teachers at the time, Professor Alex Case and Dr. William Moylan, were publishing books with Focal Press. So I was sort of tapped on the shoulder to record them and do a little bit of an interview back and forth, asking standard questions at the time, so that we can put it together for Focal Press, and then Focal Press would then post it on YouTube, because that was the podcasting platform of the day, as well as Apple. So back around that time, I was like, you know what? I'm making all of these podcasts. Why don't I just brand them as myself as well? And that'll be my sort of brand of production. I am the Audio Pod. And then it sort of just took off. So I ended up picking up the URL back in the day, theaudiopod.com. And Twitter was brand new. Facebook was sort of brand new still. So we sort of started a Facebook page. We got on Twitter, and the rest has sort of been history. So, it started off as a podcast, turned into a blog pretty quickly. And back in the day, I was whenever somebody says back in the day, you got to make sure you do with that, like, back in the day, I was doing something so cool, but, we weren't. So back in the day, we were publishing on iLife or iWeb, which was a Mac platform it was basically like WordPress for Mac, and they had their own hosting and that sort of thing. So the podcast lived there, and it was pushed out to every major platform, and it started getting some traction. So I was like, oh man, I should like make this a thing. The Audio Pod should be a thing, and it became a thing. So in 2009, I ended up trying to trademark theaudiopod.com, and it just got trademarked in 2020. So I'm very excited to say that we are officially trademarked TM 2020 for the Audio Pod. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, I ended up doing all these Focal Press interviews. And since I had some experience in broadcast and sports news, it just made sense that the Audio Pod would be a sort of technology review And that's what it became. So, around 2009 to 2011, I was still working at NESN. I would go to the Audio Engineering Society conventions. I would go to NAB, and anything that was in New York and Boston for conferences, especially broadcast technology, I was going to. And I would bring my Twitter with me, the AudioPod, and I would tweet about it, and it was growing a following, and it was really cool. It was really cool to see that. I mean, oh my God, in 2009, Twitter was still sort of in its infancy. Everybody would get so excited if you actually got a retweet. You had that little RT symbol at the beginning of your tweet, and it was like, whoa, this company retweeted me. That's so cool. Or, whoa, the AudioPod retweeted this. That's so cool. And, it was just, oh man, it was the Wild West. It was cool. It was a cool time to sort of, get into that. But around 2011, I ended up switching careers. So I got out of broadcast engineering at the time and went to teach full-time at UMass Lowell, my alma mater. So I taught in the sound recording technology department, in the music department there, and that was a blast. I mean, that was so cool. I was still blogging. The blog sort of turned into it was a true blog in the sense, blogs nowadays tend to be a little bit more polished and have a little bit more focus, but back in the day of 2006 through 11, blogs were literally online journals. So it was, that's what some of the early stuff was. It was Mike Testa being very emo. Some of the stuff was really cool though, like in the early days of 2006, 2007, we ended up cutting our cable. So we were one of the first cord cutters, so to speak. So I kind of journaled all about that, 25 megabytes of speed was like super duper, and we were still watching HD video, which was this brand new thing, on all the individual websites like ABC, CBS, and sending a VGA to our TV. And it was an amazing time for the internet and technology to sort of come to a little bit of a singularity of like, okay, internet speeds are getting up there enough that we can do this content streaming. Netflix had just come out with their streaming platform. People were still getting CDs in the mail or DVDs in the mail. So, that's what we were doing. So it was just a really cool time in history for the technology to really evolve to where we are now. So, so in 2011, like I said, I switched careers. I became a full-time educator, and that was one of the most amazing things I could have done. Just being able to be immersed in audio and music production and music technology full-time, and not just sort of, being an audio engineer half-time and then, music technology half-time. Just diving into it was probably the best thing that I could have ever done. I also started my doctorate around 2012, which is kind of an interesting story in itself. So in academia, if you have a terminal degree, which means that there's no degree above that particular degree, then you have the ability to teach. So I had a master's in sound recording technology. At the time, there was really no additional degrees above that. Now there's a few more doctorates and PhDs in music tech and audio production and stuff like that. But that allowed me to teach full time. So I took advantage of that. But like I said, in academia, if you really want to publish and sort of advance your career, you really need a doctorate or a PhD of some sort. So believe it or not, the only thing I was qualified for was education. So I ended up doing an education doctorate from UMass Lowell, and just finished it up in 2021. So I'm super excited to be over that. It was a long process. Actually, my coursework went really, really well, but the dissertation just took a long time. My dissertation was titled Music Technology in the Classroom, but it was actually a dissertation on music teacher preparation for music technology. So how our teachers prepare to teach music technology in the classroom. So it was really, really cool to see music tech from that perspective, versus from the college perspective, where you sort of become an expert in music tech or technology through experience, and then you sort of go into the teaching world where, in the K through 12 system, you have to get trained on how to be an educator, how to teach all of this stuff first, and then you go into teach. Like I said, it was really, really cool to do all that research and look at it from that perspective. So, but again, it was long, so I'm happy to be done. Thank you to my committee for having mercy on me and helping me out with that. So, yeah. So the AudioPod now is sort of my outlet for passing along music technology education experience, music technology production experience. I have a lot of different things that I've done over the past 18 years or so in music technology, in the music industry and broadcast industry. So I'm excited to share all of that with you. So the blog's been updated and upgraded. So if you go to www.theaudiopod.com, you'll see the brand new website, brand new blog, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty slick. It looks really good. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the old websites that I've had, it's been a little rough. But thanks to actually we're hosting this one on Squarespace, and they do a really good job of having templates to start with, but really customizable, so that it looks really, really good. So I'm proud of that. How the AudioPod has really evolved over that time. And we also have every single social media platform that you can even think of. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, obviously, and TikTok, all at the AudioPod. So that was really cool to still be able to pick up all those social medias and have the handle, and it was sort of meant to be, I guess. This reboot of the AudioPod was meant to be. So definitely check us out at all of those platforms. There's really cool content on there. I try to retweet and repost and repinterest and pin things and all the sorts of fun stuff that you would expect. Some really cool music technology stuff, how to play instruments, how to think about instruments in different ways. And music technology education is on there as well. So if you're an educator and finding the AudioPod, thank you. Thank you again for your service over the pandemic. Like, I'm sure it was not easy. It was not easy on our end. I can tell you that, to pivot towards an online modality, but we did it, and we're here. So, and we're still doing it. So that's all we can really sort of ask for. But yeah, it's been a wild ride, and I'm excited to restart this journey with you in music technology. And I hope that you sort of reach out as well and ask questions, and ask about how my production workflow works, and I'll try my best to answer it. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to bring somebody on that does, which is also another cool part of this. So I'm going to team up with some of my old colleagues and some of my new colleagues and some of old friends and new friends that are both working in the music industry, the audio industry. Some people don't work in the industry whatsoever, but are just curious and are funny. So that's going to be part of the show here, because listen, like, everything's got to be entertaining, right? We can't just be serious about this gig. It's the gig is all about entertainment, right? We want to make serious art, but we also, we want to entertain people. So same thing here. We're going to do our best to put on an entertaining podcast for you. Right now we're going to start about once a month releasing this podcast, and then hopefully try to get it to every 2 weeks or so, and then eventually within the year try to get it to every week. So we're going to need your help. So we definitely want to hear from you. If you have questions, reach out to us on any of the social media. Most of the social media is at the AudioPod, except for Facebook. If you want to join the Facebook page, it is at theaudiopod.com. So find us anywhere, ask us some questions. It's going to be awesome. If you do want to support the podcast in a little more of an official way, we do have a Patreon, Patreon.com/theaudiopod. There's a couple of different options on there for support, and all of that support obviously goes to running the podcast and the blog and all the various outlets. So hop on there. It's pretty cool. It's a brave and amazing new world in terms of connection and how you and I can interact with each other with all these various social platforms. So I'm really excited to answer some of your questions. I'm really excited to ask you some questions because I learn more sometimes than, I do reading a book from everything that everybody posts. It's awesome. It's so cool to see how, things have changed in just this short amount of time. Well, I guess 15 years isn't short, but it's really cool to see how everything has changed and how we can connect even more than we were able to do back in the mid 2000s. So, so I'm super excited. I look forward to speaking with you at least once a month to start, and hopefully a lot more. I look forward to writing some really cool posts for you. I look forward to connecting with you on all the social media platforms and posting funny memes and cats and all sorts of, silly things that the internet should provide for entertainment. So again, thank you again. Visit us at all the social medias at The AudioPod. Check out www.theaudiopod.com, Patreon.com/theaudiopod as well. And I think that's probably a good way to sort of end this one right here. So thanks again. Welcome back. And you have been listening to The AudioPod.